Things are looking like a skirt. I'm very excited. And we're getting to the lining, the kick pleat. So I've got it turned inside out. You can see the lining's sitting there, just waiting to know what its fate is. So as you can see, I've got the fused mane here, and that's the one that's going to be flapping backwards. This is the one that sits flat. And this is going to give you an idea of how our lining is going to sit. You can see that this one matches up, but this one is a big overlap. So if we're going to do the advanced kick pleat version, which is the one I'm going to show you, we're going to have to trim this back so that it can meet this shape. Right, so the reason why I've left the step till we've got all of the lining put in with a nice facing and everything is that I wanted people to be super confident that they weren't going to cut off the incorrect side of the lining, because one of these sides needs to be trimmed. So on this side we can see that that's going to be matching to the lining, but on this side this is going to have to be trimmed away in order to seam to that nicely. So it's really hard to go wrong at this point. And what we've got is our little template piece, and we're going to draw a line on there, and matching this notch will be along the cut edge of your thing, so you don't want to have this flipped and cut a wrong shape. And this will align to the notch on your hemline, and you're going to mark that on there and then cut this off with no fear at all. Alright, so look, I have now been very brave and cut away this part of the lining on this side, and I've also marked in the seam allowances and the notches with chalk. So as you can see there, remember there's a 2 centimeter seam on the centre back, and that transitions at the dot points on the pattern to a 1 centimeter seam along here, and it's also a 1 centimeter seam along there. And now that we've cut this off, we can finish these edges like we did up the top. So this is our edge finishing step now. Alright, those edges are finished now, and we're up to a little bit of a challenging part. I've marked mine with chalk, but if you are wanting to be even more careful, you can actually put little stitch lines along those edges as an even more reliable indicator. Just make sure you go slightly within the seam allowance, and that can be another good way of creating those guidelines on there too. I've made little chalk marks here to show you where we're going to need to clip into the fabric. So we're going to be sewing these together, and whenever you sew an opposing shape, you're going to have to clip into the inner shape to allow it to spread, or you just simply won't be able to sew it without horrible puckers everywhere. So we've got an inner curve, an inner corner here which needs to be clipped, and an inner corner here which needs to be clipped. And you're going to have to clip right to that seam, so all the way up to 1 millimeter away, which is 1/16 of an inch. So your option is to clip it now, or you can clip it as you sew. I tend to like to clip mine as I sew if I can, but in this case we're going to be changing direction twice, so I think I will clip mine now.